We got an anonymous tip from a current naval aviator.
What does he fly? First of all, is it a helo guy? Because
who cares? Mover and Gonky, PERS-43 de facto stop loss. Thanks for taking the time to read this. I'm a current naval aviator in the VFA community. Well, there's your answer.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm listening.
Would you let me talk? There is currently a policy shift at PERS-43 that I believe deserves public attention, specifically with regards to people like your viewers, many of whom are prospective military pilots. Bottom line up front, PERS-43 is forcing aviators to remain on active duty beyond their service obligations in peacetime. At present, the 8-year active duty obligation post-wings is not being honored. The Navy claims MIL-PERS man allows this. However, there are multiple sections in the MPM that contradict this. Don't want to get into boring policy debate of it, but have references if you want them. PERS-43 has actually even gone as far as to assert that MSR is a minimum service requirement, and therefore the Navy has the option to require more. This is a radical departure from what we all understand the MSR to be and what it actually is. MSR means that is the minimum baseline obligation after winging, and you may obligate yourself to more through different schools, orders, and programs, TPS, Top Gun, department head, etc. Any prospective naval aviator should be aware that even in peacetime, the Navy can and will hold them on active duty for as long as the Navy sees fit. While officer serves at the pleasure of the president and resignations may be denied, the practice of forcibly retaining non-obligated officers in peacetime is an unprecedented escalation of their retention efforts. They are doing this by forcing officers to serve a full second sea tour while ignoring the policy mechanism that allows officers to withdraw consent to additional obligation. Ironically, this will have significant retention and recruiting consequences. It's a continuation of PERS cycle of creating long-term issues to attempt to fix near-term problems. After all, the detailers, placement officers, fit reps only reflect the billets they fill in a given cycle, and they will be long gone by the time the chickens come home to roost. I saw your episode on PERS drama last year and wanted to bring this to your attention, as PERS has tripled down on their adversarial approach with their constituents since that episode. When we get tours at the squadron, I quietly recommend the Air National Guard and the Air Force to those interested in military aviation. I feel like your platform may be a great opportunity to inform and educate individuals considering naval aviation. Wombat, your thoughts?
Do you have my email?
Like this?
Yes. So that's my website and my social media. I will say before everything I'm about to say, PERS-43 actual, I welcome you to reply directly to me after I say what I'm about to say. And that's how you get a hold of me. I'm waiting. This move is complete and utter effing garbage. Because what's not in that email, but what I know for a fact, is they've gone so far, and this should outrage everybody who's watching this, because everything that's in that email is wrong, 100% wrong. Okay, when we signed up, now granted, there's gonna be haters out there that are like, well, you signed up, you raised your hand, and we did, but there is a commitment that a lot of people don't even want to think about right now, right? I mean, I've talked to young kids, and they're like, why would I go active duty? Like you're talking a minimum of 10 years. To an 18, 19, 20-year-old, 10 years is a lifetime, right? I mean, if you're 20 and you're making this decision, 10 years, that's half your life. Think about that. To us, we're like 10 years, like whatever, but that's because we've had over 4 times 10 years, right? To a 20-year-old, that's half the time that they've been in existence. And you're saying that they are required to be there. That's a lot as is. If you are then going to go on top of that and say, we can do whatever we want, peacetime, it's fine. You are essentially taking all future recruiting and you're shutting it down. You are ruining naval aviation, and I'm going to make it even worse. And that's why I wanted my email up there, because I would love to talk to PERS-43 actual. I don't want the BS detailers or the placement officers, because frankly, I've dealt with all of those idiots my whole career, and I have nothing to say to any of you idiots. You're just middle management trying to step on somebody to get to your skipper tours. So I have no time for you. But PERS-43 actual, I would love to hear this. What do you think this is going to fix in recruiting for your service that, by the way, sir or ma'am, you signed up and you're in a role that is recruitment and is in manning? How is this going to help us long-term to be warfighters? And number 2, I would love you to answer the worst part of this. And that is, not only are they making people go past their MSRs, right? They are even taking out, you ready for this one, guys? Let's all go big because I want everybody to see the reaction you have on your faces. They are even taking out the clause that if you have, I forget the exact term, but a child that has special needs where you would be kept in a set of orders because it's easier on the child, they have taken that out as well. Meaning you can have a special needs child and they're going to send you to another tour. There's no protection there. So tell me this, PERS-43, because this is ultimately your decision, right? It's your command. This is not detailers. This is not, that's middle management BS. This is the Admiral Actual here. This is your command. So answer to me how, please explain to me as somebody who loves the Navy, how you think doing this to your current generation of people, to include people that have special needs children that really, really, really need to stay in a location because it's better for their family. How is this going to help future retention? I am all ears. This is the most, and I'm sorry to say it on your show, chicken shit thing I've ever seen the Navy do to their people. And as much as I love the Navy, until I get a good answer, I couldn't recommend the Navy to anybody. Why would you? You should go Air National Guard all day, every day. Will it be as cool as landing on an aircraft carrier? No. But do you have control over your life? 100%. This is horrible. And I have no, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. The story that comes back to me on this was back in 2012 or 13 when I was in Meridian and I was at the wing and one of the skippers went to PERS-43, right? Different PERS-43 back then, obviously, and asked about the upcoming pilot shortage due to the airline starting to hire. And I will never forget it. He came back and I was like, sir, what was the Admiral's answer? And the Admiral stood in front of all these skippers and said, we do not see that as a problem. Now, this was 2013. I remember telling my dad that same story, and my dad just laughed, whether he remembers it or not. He's probably listening now, but my dad just laughed. He goes, well, he was right. He didn't see it as a problem. He said it different. I go, what do you mean he said it different? He goes, the Admiral said, I don't see it as a problem. What he really meant to say is, I don't see it as my problem. Because these guys are on 3-year orders. They're going to make this massive thing, right? Like, oh, this is what we're going to do. And look at how my numbers, I took all these red numbers and I made them green, guys. So you should promote me to the next star and give me more responsibility. And then everybody forgets about the policies that person did. They move on to their next set of orders or their cushy government contract job when they get out. And everybody else that's in there, the bros and broettes are stuck dealing with the aftermath. And that's what you're going to have from this, even more so. It's already still an aftermath from the first time. So again, email me, call me. I would love to talk to PERS Actual. I'm wide open. You have my schedule. I will put down anything to talk to you so you could explain to me why you think keeping people on a second set of sea tours or taking people who have special needs kids and moving them, which is against the policy, is good for the Navy, falls into honor, courage, and commitment. Thank you. And any of those things, I am open to that call. I will put down everything I'm doing for that call. And when you give me an answer that I think is justifiable, I will come right back on this show and give it to all of the watchers. I'll bet you my next paycheck, I'm not getting that call.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Nice, Gonky.
Yeah. Well, as somebody who's quit a couple times, it's always been for leadership. And, Wombat hit the nail on the head. This problem's been going on for a while. You can't force the fix, right? And it's funny, Wombat. I mean, I love naval aviation. I'm so thankful and happy about what the opportunities that the Navy gave me. But like you, I always try to steer people towards Reserve Guard or Coast Guard, to be honest. That's just honest truth, because I got out of active duty because I didn't believe in the leadership. I love my job. I love the people I worked with. I love the Navy, but I could see leadership wasn't where it needed to be. And I think it's gotten worse. And it just seems like, as things get worse, all they know how to do is just squeeze tighter. They don't realize what they're doing is wrong and bad. I mean, this is not the first naval aviator that's reached out to me that has told me, like, I'm out of here, like, forget about it. And these are guys that, we need. Tell you, well, they're the guys we need them, but these are the guys that, 5 years ago. So, make them tell you no. The face, we help
100%.
them get in, kind of thing. So it's tragic to me because to me, you can't, dude. I mean, you can only beat the help so much, right? So
My dad used to say, man, you kick the dog enough times, one day the dog's not coming home.
yeah, that's right.
So true. And
Absolutely.
the thing with this, that I heard it today, and when you said it, Gonky, it hit me, and I don't mean to cut you off, but because everybody hates when I interrupt, and I'll get that in the damn comments, but it's what makes it great and gets the views up. So suck it. But the point that I'm getting at here, it was today. I was working out, I was doing a row, I had on my typical goofy motivational shit, and I was listening to Jocko talk about SEAL training, right? And about Hell Week and about all the things they go through. And it's all the stuff I've heard a million times, right? And I was like, that's pretty cool. Like, those are some hard dudes. And the thing that hit me is he said very specifically, he was like, I don't ever encourage anybody to go into SEAL training. He's not discouraging. It's what he's saying is very careful there. He's not discouraging you. But if you're the type of person that wants to be a Navy SEAL, you shouldn't need to be encouraged. I take the same approach with naval aviation. Listen, I'm not going to sit here anymore because of what the piss poor leadership has done. And I'm not saying it's all that way. There are some fantastic leaders. Gonky, you and I have worked for some of the same people. I mean, I'd follow them to the end of the earth with no weapons, right? That's in both communities. I've had it in the Hawkeye community. I've had it in the Hornet community. I've had it in the training command. But the problem is those people see it too, right? The good leaders see it. They know. They're not stupid. You're in a situation where now, listen, if you're 15, 16, 17 or younger and you want to be a naval aviator, I'm not going to encourage you to do it. I'll support you and I'll help you and I'll answer your Instagram messages and emails, but I'm not going to go out of my way to encourage it until the Navy starts fixing this problem. Now, if the Navy fixes this problem and I see a fix, I will use every breath I have. And every bit, and most of this comes from you too, because you actually have social media following, not like me, very little, but every bit of my voice and my platform to get the next generation to go in there. Because if they can fix this the right way, that is true leadership. That's what it's going to take. Until that happens,
it's gonna take a true leader, dude. And that's I saw, in the Navy especially, I just didn't see that happening. And I'm not saying, leadership in other branches is just spectacular, but Guard, Air Force Reserve, you definitely have a little more control. Mover, what do you think?
Well, I can't speak to the Navy side of things, but I will say what's that?
You're a naval aviator. Don't sell yourself
Well,
short.
I mean, I was never active duty, though. I never had the risk of. But to your points, if anyone could do it, anyone would do it. Recruitment and retention, no matter the service, is a national security issue. If you cannot put the best and brightest in those cockpits, you've already lost. Because what happens when you don't? You lose assets, aircraft, people in places that you shouldn't, and then you're not combat ready. You're combat ineffective. When the balloon goes up and it's time to go, sign that blank check, payable up to and including your life, you're ill-equipped because we've put the wrong people in positions, or we don't even have enough people. I mean, when jets are sitting because they can't fill the cockpits. Now, I'm not of the belief that it's hard to recruit people in these jobs because, I mean, dude, thousands of kids. Now, that's becoming less and less true. As kids get more information and hear stuff like this, I think it's going to be tougher. But you have 20th century policies in a 21st century world where you think that you can enforce your will upon people, which will work. I mean, by letter of the law, they don't have a choice. They're going to be stuck. But what do? Do they get out and go? Do they re-up, go to the Navy Reserve, Palace Chase to the Guard, go to the reserves? I mean, what happens when you have no claws in them anymore? You lose that experience pool, number one. But number two, and we've talked about this on the show, the greatest recruiter and the worst recruiter is the person that's been in the military. Because what motivates people, right? It's the kid listening to the Black Hawk Down story. And, he's gone, man. I'll be outside. Like those stories of heroism motivate us to want to go do the job. The stories of people fighting for the guy or girl next to them motivate us to do the job. But when you hear stories of a corporation that hates you and does whatever it can to make your life miserable because they can, you get kids that are like, why would I do that, dude? I can go straight to the airlines, make $300 an hour, and not worry about this a single. Now, does the airline hate you? Yes. But do I have
It's
the
a
freedom?
different kind of hate. Dude, it's different though. It's completely different.
But they don't
Completely
have
different.
US code statutory hooks in you. And so the way, and I will say this, I'm not a leader. I'm not management. I'm nothing. I'm just a dude that used to fly fighters. But the way that you encourage people to want to stay is through good leadership, which to me, again, not the experienced type. I'm, never been in a position of command, but to me is to take away all obstacles for the people that are following you to do their jobs, get out of their way, and create an atmosphere where they're excited to go to work because they believe in what you're doing. Every great leader I've ever had has done that, has been the one that has tried to do whatever they could to make sure I understood what we were doing and maintain motivation. And the quickest way to kill motivation is to take away choice. Because if people believe they have a choice, they're more likely to stay than if you force them into whatever it is you're trying to do. And word of mouth in the social media digital age travels faster than you can ever imagine. So I would just say for anybody that's like, hey, I don't know how to fix this, tread carefully, because it is a national security issue when you can't fill those cockpits.
Yeah, it's I agree 100%. The Navy right now, since we're talking about them, is fighting an internal war in a digital age, but they're thinking like they're on wooden sailing ships. And you're not in the same boat, pun intended. I mean, it's the things that happen so fast, and these policymakers and these leaders, right? They're afraid. Remember, to your point, they're afraid to take down the barriers and let their people do their jobs. You want to know why? Because it will uncover how lackluster their ability is as a leader. Because they didn't get there because they had a leader that took down barriers. They got there because they did all the right training. They said the right things. They took the right jobs. Had nothing to do with war fighting, right? Had nothing to do with war fighting. But when that's a problem is when we're talking retention, because nobody in their right mind signed up to be a naval aviator because they were hoping they would have to do their Navy knowledge online, or they would have to do their evals, or they would have to stay late because somebody got in trouble, or they would have to do mission planning. They did it to be a warfighter. I don't care what your platform is. Everybody in naval aviation joined to be a warfighter of some sort, because naval aviation in and of itself is that. It is a very tight-knit, it's a very unique skill set. And I'm talking helicopters all the way through the big wings, although I could talk crap about the big wings. But there's a culture there. And you have now taken that culture and you've squashed it because we have put all these other things like I remember specifically when I put in the transition to fly Hornets, one of the comments was, oh, wow, he got his master's on his own. That's great. We don't have to worry about sending him to that. Hold on a second. The answer wasn't that's great because he took the initiative up on it himself while he was on 3 combat deployments in the E2 to do a master's on the side instead of playing video games in his room all the time with his buddies. That wasn't the comment. The comment is we don't have to send him to get his master's. Hold on a second.
Just called you a nerd, but go on.
How are you going to motivate a generation to go above and beyond if you're thankful they do it because it helps you? And even if you are thankful that I did that because it helps the organization, you don't say that. You say, hey, that's a hard charger, man. Nice job. You had a goal. Hey, Todd, you had a goal. You wanted to be a Hornet pilot. And you knew that you sat in API behind Gonky and they put out that giant PowerPoint of what a naval aviator's career is and where all the wickets are. And you noticed at that point that there was no spot for a transition of communities. So you had to find a gap. Well, I don't really want to go to get my master's degree in Rhode Island. Like, what do I care? Like, I was going to get it from the University of Oklahoma for $700. Not going to use it anyway, just like the people that go to Rhode Island. So what difference does it make? But it gives me that gap to be able to do it. But again, at the end, it wasn't, hey, nice job because you saw a goal and you figured out a way. It was nice job because you made it easier on us. And that is fundamentally what's wrong. The leaders of the United States Navy and naval aviation need to stop thinking about themselves. They raised their right hands and took an oath as well, and it's to serve the people that serve them. None of them need to be there, okay? None of them. I mean, let's be honest. Trump could come in and cut some bureaucratic tape in every service if he wanted to. There are so many people that are supportive people that are supportive people. It's ridiculous. And what happens, it's because the wrong people are getting promoted. And as these people get promoted, they're like, well, I don't know how to do this job. I need an assistant. So we should create an assistant role. And then it just becomes this gluttony of just bad ideas and groupthink. And you need these warriors to step up. But you're never going to get the warriors to step up unless somebody in that position right now opens their damn ears and listens to what they're doing to their Navy and realizes that it may affect their career, their precious pension, God forbid, their sweet corporate contractor job that they may get, right? That's going to pay them a lot of money. But how about for one instance, sir, ma'am, 07 and above, you stop thinking about yourself. And you think about the fact that if our military sucks and some other country comes in here and takes it over, none of the things I just mentioned are going to be available anyway. So you might want to start reprioritizing what's important because that's a legacy. And every one of these people that sit in these roles, what do they care about more than money and their own accomplishments? It's their legacy, right? Because they're all narcissists. You don't do that long. It's very rare to see somebody that goes that far up that's not somewhat of a narcissist. Now, there's good levels of narcissism, and then there's extreme levels of narcissism, and I'm talking about the latter. If you want to really set your legacy in the halls of naval aviation, fix this problem, because it'll do more for the warfighter than's ever been done.